let's talk about and versus but. And we're not talking about B-U-T-T. So talk a little bit about that, some of the strategies that you bring out in the seller's journey to help us close more deals. What should sellers be thinking about the use of these two words: when, how, where, etc.?
So, I think a lot of people know this. I think we don't consciously make the effort. And is additive, and it's an agreement. It means I agree with you. Hey, Mario, that's a unique position. And I'm curious, would you be open to a different idea for just a minute? That's me saying, and Mario, I'm not sure my idea is better. And I'm agreeing with Mario, right? On the flip side, I say, hey, Mario, that's a really good thing. But what about this? Well, anything I just said before, but no longer exists. I just disagreed with them. And so it turns people off. I knew I was going to write this part of the book, and I wrote the book in such a way that when I got to this part of the book, I didn't count, but I had the word or whatever I was using counted. I used the word and over 1,000 times. Mario, how many times do you think I used the word but?
I'm going to guess 0.
No, that's not possible. I mean, I guess it is possible, but I didn't do that.
You don't say, but I don't know. I don't know what the guess would be.
About 85 times.
Okay, so a significant difference between 1,000 to less than 100.
Yeah, and I did that because I wanted to make sure people who were reading
got the point.
that I'm not, yeah, that, well, not only got the point, and I just wanted them to understand that I'm not trying to contradict something they already know. Look, there's tons of stuff, there's tons of sales books. I don't agree with everything. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. And in fact, the very first sentence in my book has my email address. So you can email me and tell me you hate it, and I'll send you your money back. And I just wanted people to understand that I get that concept, and theoretically, by the time they get to that part of the book, it resonates.
All right, so and
And
should be used more than but,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
we should make a conscious effort when we're speaking to our buyers, influencers, coaches, to try to show agreement wherever possible.
yeah. And you can use and disagree. I disagree. Hey, Mario, that's a really unique perspective. And can I share something else with you? Doesn't mean, and I'm sharing. I'm not forcing it on Mario. I'm just going to share it. And it's up to Mario to decide if he wants to accept the knowledge of the share, and if he likes it or not. And nobody's ever going to say, no, you don't want to share anything. The two places I tell people the most to do this are, one, when you're talking about the competition, because we internally get very defensive ourselves, and we hate it when it comes up. Oh no, the competition, right? Um, and I think the other place is when you are negotiating on commercial terms, like those, any place where there's extra tension and anxiety, I think is a great place to try this tactic and see if it helps. And it's not 100%. There are times you could do, but I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying be mindful of it.
So I really like the way you broke that down, as you should be mindful of this when you're talking about the competition, and when you're negotiating commercial terms with whoever it might be internally. Yeah. Um, and the idea is that it forces you as the individual to actually think about how you can phrase something that would show that you're in agreement, or that you are at least not confrontational with the word but.
Yeah, I think it's more about the lack of confrontation, which, and there's like four things I should be adding back to the book, but it's too late. But it's too late. So I think that's the best way to say it. And I didn't even say it that way. So thank you. Is that it helps reduce the confrontation and the friction of those uncomfortable conversations when it works. And it's not always going to work.
I will say this. I'm trying to play around with it here. Well, here on the podcast, obviously, as you can see. And it's forcing me to pause and think through what I want to say, even if I don't necessarily agree with something. And when I do that, it actually makes me slow things down a bit. And I'm thinking, maybe I need to do this at home with my wife, and I might be a little happier.
Yeah. But why would I do that?
Exactly.
It does slow you down a little bit. It does sort of force you to think strategically, which I really think is super important about sales, right? We are so taught to go, 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 go. And I know this is important to you too, is that if we're not careful, that reduces the humanity, right? It takes away the human aspect of the conversations. Any tactic we can use to slow ourselves down, I think, is a good tactic. This just happens to be one of them.